What a week of skating already.
This has been a crazy week. How many competitions are happening? There's so many.
So many things happening, so many announcements. I'm glad we started this podcast early.
Yeah, it's been a crazy week to start.
I feel like these things are going to go for like hours and hours. So bear with us as we start with this week's news of the week. What is this? A week of week of August 31st / September 1st. Lots of stuff happening. Ilya Malinin had some program announcements with his short program, The Lost Crown. Michelle, I know you have some thoughts about using that as a title, and then a free skate announcement.
Yeah,
take it away.
The Lost Crown, it's a little bit jinxed, but I feel like if there's anyone who is unaffected by jinxes, it's Ilya. So I wouldn't name my program that, but maybe, it gives him the flair. He enjoys it.
I mean, maybe he wants it lost and he wants to find it.
Maybe he's a Yuma fan.
So that's Ilya. You were noting before when we were coming on to the podcast that there have been a slew of theatrical announcement videos.
Yeah, it's kind of a thing this year. Yeah.
And Ilya had the great pleasure of using a TikTok user for it.
Yeah. Ilya Malinin's blonde hair dye is their name. And they did a good job. Props to them and props to him for using his fans for his media.
That's cool. Who's to say it's not his Finsta TikTok? Finstock. Fintalk.
Yeah.
FicTalk. So that's Ilya Malinin. There were a number of things. So in the regular episode after our news of the week, we will talk about Kenosha Cup and we will talk about the Junior Grand Prix. But there were also two other competitions that were going on over the past week, it's just crazy that there were 4 things happening and we can barely keep track of things. Yeah. Let's start with John Nick's challenge, which I was at for the short program. Mm-hmm. And that was where Deanna Stellato did the backflip that they were saying has never before been seen in competition, though it was actually never before seen in international competition because there was a Chinese pair that did it at a domestic event. But still, very, very cool to see. It is certainly different. It has been polarizing, the backflip. Some people love it. Some people are like, why are you doing backflips? But Deanna's being Deanna, right?
It's a star-making thing. I was very anti until I actually saw it in the context of the program, and thanks to that YouTube user for uploading videos from the event. But when I saw it, I was like, oh, okay. Like, Carmina Burana is so big and out there. It was like, okay, yeah, I guess this is happening now. Let's go.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I saw it in person. I did see it in the context of just the clip before it went on the program, and I was like, okay, yeah, this might be a little bit disruptive. And then I agree that in the program itself, it works. The thing is, it is part of their step sequence, and so what I like about it is that it does create variation in the step sequence itself. There's sort of a start and stop to the rhythm. There's highlighting of certain things, and then they go back into the step sequence. Could it be smoother? Yes, I think as the season continues, hopefully there'll be more improvements made there, but I don't think it is a disruptive element to the program. I think it actually does work. We'll see where it goes. There were a couple of interviews where Deanna was talking about the thought process behind the backflip. And she had said, first of all, that she had an entire spreadsheet of things that she wanted to work on, which is not surprising given that I've told this story before. After 2023 Worlds, whichever one it was in Saitama, right? It's 2023. Yeah, because 2024 they won. They were 4th at that World, and they had come in somewhat as like the slight favorites for bronze. and they ended up fourth. And I remember seeing her right after the competition, and she immediately, the first thing she told me was, "What do I need to work on?" Like she was already
Yeah.
there, right? Her mind's already there, and she
Mhm.
always has a to-do list, and
Mhm.
like a to-do list based on how much impact it would have on their
Mhm.
scores, right? And they want to stand out. They want to make sure that whatever they can do, will help them be stars this
Mhm.
season, and kind of recapture some of that magic that they had 2 years ago. And the backflip was an idea that she had, and she was like,
Mhm.
there was something about like, oh, I originally wanted to jump off of Max's shoulder, and Max vetoed it, and then I was like, well, what about jumping off your back? And then he vetoed it, and then it's like a good
Yeah.
good medium for them to actually have that backflip, and I think it works. I think had she had to get on his shoulder to somehow jump off, which
Mhm.
probably would have been crazy dangerous, I don't think that would have been as effective, to be honest. So Max, thank you for being the sane
Voice of reason.
voice of reason in
Yeah.
that partnership.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's John Nix. There were a few things that happened within John Nix, right? It was kind of a battle of the American pairs,
Mhm.
amongst a whole bunch of them, with Efimova and Mitrofanov,
Mhm.
the reigning U.S. champions, winning,
Mhm.
and I think their programs are lovely.
Mhm.
McBeath and Parkman getting third, and then Chan and Howe over Shin and Naj. Like there was a
Mhm.
lot of chatter about like how this sets up Audrey Shin and Balazs Naj
Mhm.
for Chinese double horn in 2 weeks.
Are
And
they
what
are they still the entry?
how I understand it is that the entries were determined after Champs Camp, and
Mm.
there was some kind of thing there that led to the entries being determined.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, these entries are swappable, right? Like
Yeah.
there's no rule against swapping them out.
Yeah.
We've already seen some swap outs, right? The Italians swapped
Mhm.
out Manny and Roethlisberger
Mhm.
for Tuba and Paolini for
Mhm.
their dance, and so who's to say? Not that I don't think it will happen, given that I do think that Champs Camp was like the pressure cooker
Mhm.
competition for these folks. But who the heck knows?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if we look at the American teams in that field that are Olympic eligible, like have citizenship, Chan and Howe were the highest placed ones.
Right.
And they weren't at Worlds, so it seems like they would be the most logical choice to send to skate to Milano, Chinese
Right.
double horn. But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Champs Camp was, we don't know
Mhm.
what actually happened there.
Mhm.
But the word is that that Shin and Naj skated very well
Mhm.
there compared
It's
to everybody
a
else.
it's a bold choice by U.S. figure skating because Chan and Howe, I feel like, have so much experience, and it's just such a, you know,
Yeah.
a clutch situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk more about
Mhm.
Chinese double horn in
Mhm.
about a week when we
Yeah.
preview it. It's going to be a pressure cooker
Mm-hmm.
competition. Speaking of which, the Armenians, former Russians,
Mhm.
Akopova and Rachmanin were there.
Mhm.
They scored a pretty decent score in the
Mhm.
170s that probably will put them in pretty good contention
Yeah.
for one of those spots. I would imagine if you're in the 180s, you're probably going to get a spot.
Mhm.
If you're in the 170s, you're close. If you're in the 160s, which was where Shin and Naj were, you are on the bubble. It really just depends. Pairs is it can be so variable. So
Mhm.
I think that's going to be a thing. Okay, before we round out the news of the week, Bolero Cup, which I kept wondering why it was called Bolero Cup, and then I realized it was in England
Yeah.
and it was ice dance only. So they might as well have just called it the Torval and Dean Cup. they were actually there, Torvill and Dean,
Yeah.
to be at their basically what is their competition.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the Brits won, not surprisingly, with Lila Lewis and Lila Fear and Lewis Gibson. Good Lord, Lila Fear and Lewis Gibson. I keep calling them Lila and Lewis.
Lila Lewis and
Lila Lewis.
Fear Gibson.
Yeah, exactly. Lila and Lewis ended up winning, but also were beaten by Reed and Amber Levicius at in the free dance. So, any thoughts on that? Our ice dance expert.
Interesting. I think Reed and Amber Levicius going back to an older free dance gave them a bit of an advantage.
Agreed.
And they probably are ready a little bit earlier because of they're going to Chinese Nebelhorn. Still a little bit of a interesting situation for Fear Gibson to be in. I'm sure that they will take whatever happened there and go home and do some work.
Can we talk about Spice Girls?
We got to see their Spice Girls rhythm dance. I had mixed feelings about it. I didn't like all the edits. I'm glad they used real Spice Girls music.
Yes.
But it was so edited that I feel like those songs have their own energy that builds and builds and builds, and the edits and the cuts took that energy out of it.
And they're known for that, right? Because when they did Madonna a few years ago, they used a number of remixed versions of the songs, and this is the case with the Spice Girls too. I didn't mind so much the remixes. The thing that I did take issue with was the slowing down of Spice Up Your Life.
Yes.
Yes. And with the slowing down of the tempo, it also meant that there was a key change in Spice Up Your Life. And it actually, because it was slower than I'm used to and lower in register than I'm used to, I actually felt like the program was slower. Like it was just like
totally.
It was all in my brain.
I totally noticed that too. Yes.
I don't think it actually was the case that they were slower.
Yeah.
But because it just felt like it was slowed down because of it.
And I think if you know that song, you expect that kind of power to come out of it. And when it doesn't, you feel like a drag.
Yeah.
Psychologically.
Yeah. There was another team that did Spice Girls, and I forgot who it was. And they also used Spice Up Your Life, in the original version and in the original tempo and key. And it looked and felt a little different.
Yeah, some of the juniors have been using it, and I feel like sometimes the juniors aren't quite able to skate up to it, but it's like the music is so big, you see them kind of trying to catch it, whereas with Lila and Lewis, I felt like the music was holding back.
Yeah, Spice Up Your Life is such a big song,
right? Let it fly.
Like, yeah. I mean, if for those of us in our generation, I mean, we remember that futuristic music video where they were just flying everywhere, and so.
I'm getting chills just thinking about it.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what it goes. Okay. Last couple of things before we wrap up news of the week. Rika Kihira on the entry list next week for regionals.
Come back to us.
I'm hoping that that actually is real, and that she's going to come back. My guess is it's going to be a simpler program, Sao and Toe, that kind of thing, Sao, Toe, and Loop, which is what she was doing when she made that comeback a couple of years ago. I think she could probably get through regionals given the way that she skates, if she can do that. I mean, we remember Sota Yamamoto a few years ago, many years ago, kind of coming back and doing double jumps, right? Because he was coming back from injury. So that's Rika, and then another comeback of note, Ava Ziegler, your fave.
Yeah, AMZ. I'm an Ava Marie Ziegler truther. I'm here for her upsetting the order of things in U.S. figure skating. I want her back. I want to see that Nathan Chen seatbelt arm on her triple lutz and see it fly. I'm excited to see her on the list at Nepola.
Yep.
I saw she won Mid-Atlantics this weekend. We'll, hopefully see a little more difficulty in her free skate at Nepola, but yeah, good for her.
She is back. So that's news of the week for the first week of September on the Rocker Skating Podcast.